Hi. We are the same.
We always have some mess up at the beginning, and I always laughed.
Sorry. We are the Penguin Sisters. I'm an elven penguin.
I'm Gizmo Penguin.
And today we are launching on a topic of watching a video and react on it, which calls
Behind Japan's Rise of Anti-Foreigner Sentiment.
Part 1.
He does a lot of great videos. We'll put his information in the description so you guys can see him.
The Japan reporter.
He's great, so please do check out. Please do check out his videos. We have seen the rise of anti-foreigner sentiment, and we kind of understand it. Kind of understand why it's happening, so we're curious his take on it.
Yeah, let's see.
Tourism continuously grows this year, and combined with the rising number of foreign residents, we've never experienced having thus so many foreigners inside the country until recently.
Last year, where I think it was the most amount of tourists Japan has ever had and it wasn't even like close.
But some people say that benefits foreigners, because it could mean that you're less likely to get stared at or walked away by Japanese on a train. Nowadays, not just we see them on the street every day, but on the internet like social media a lot. So especially the younger generation might be much more familiar with different race or culture.
Like they say, it's like the most that Japan had. Was it?
I think because of the weak yen, it makes sense. People can come here for really cheap, and it's such a dream destination for a lot of people. It's like a big opportunity to come here, and like dollars almost. It's like almost half the cost of.
Yeah, but I think the Japanese statistics said it wasn't yet like before Corona.
Oh, I thought I heard the opposite actually, but I could be wrong.
Well, I don't watch news much, but it's too much anyway.
I was actually just telling Elvin the other day when I was living close to Shibuya next to Yoyogi Park. I used to walk to Shibuya almost every day. No other foreigners. You go there now, any time of the week, you are always going to run into a foreign person, and the streets are unbearably crowded. So even in 15 years, it's changed a lot. Yeah, it's crazy.
That one I agree.
I hate Shibuya now. I would never.
Oh yeah, I don't like it. It's too crowded.
Sometimes though, we also see their bad behavior or something negative about them much more. Japanese media are full of those contents that shows us worst type of foreigners.
I'm sorry, I can't understand his accent. I'm apologizing, but I can't listen to
Does
it.
he have captions by any chance? He was saying there about the bad behaviors of.
No. Nah, I'm Gaijin and I know it.
But yeah, like here showing the clips of like the live streamers or people who come here and then like jump on cherry blossom trees or do exercise pull-ups on the Tori gate, the chicken gate. Sorry, I just completely disrespected that with the way I said that.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with this, but yeah, I didn't understand the point. I'm sorry. Okay, I need to read it before we launch.
Yeah. Point 2 shows us that they can't distinguish maybe between tourists and foreign residents.
Oh yeah, that sucks. Like yeah,
that happened.
But I don't judge for it. Like, how could you distinguish?
Yeah.
Because like I think both sides can act crazy. I mean, residents would be more careful because they care about their visas, but still they might be disrespect.
Yeah.
As resident, it's kind of sucks because I don't want to be equal to these kids who act like they're
who come to another country with a specific purpose to disrespect it. I feel the same sort of resentment that I think a lot of Japanese people feel about it.
When I see it, I feel disgust, but it's hard to like interfere because you don't know if they're under influence or something, because they might be acting aggressively.
I've seen some of the really horrible American live streamers who've come here. Kind of basically tourist. I think the dude was on a 3-month visa, like tourist visa. He got punched, and then there were like 2 foreign guys who were going after a Japanese woman and telling her to go with them to a love hotel, and then her boyfriend came after them and started beating them up. They were like, "Why are you hitting me? Why are you hitting me?" When they had threatened him and said, "Fight me, fight me." And the guys did. I was so impressed, but it was Osaka. As I've said before, don't mess with Osaka.
Secondly, even today we often categorize all of them as Gaijin and assume they have the same traits, which means it could be a similar feeling to us as people in the West have about immigrants recently. More importantly, we don't actually interact with each other, and most foreigners in Japan only stick to other foreigners.
I would say it's better than New York City. Because New York City is very, very multicultural. But it was so hard to meet anyone from outside of the US there, even though there were tons of people from outside of the US. Whereas in Tokyo, I feel like it's really easy to meet people from other countries. Any New Yorkers, let us know.
There is wall. There is wall. Absolutely. Even if you're integrated in the society, the first thought, oh, Gaijin. And they shut it. And sometimes they don't even they still keep on talking to you in English while responding in Japanese. Still, they actually understand. Oh, this species actually speak in Japanese. And then their praise of your Japanese level getting actually genuine, because before it's just like, oh, Nihongo jōzu.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, don't judge me, please. I mean, I understand some people are generally trying to be polite, but why? For what reason?
I've heard a lot of foreign residents here, whether short-term or long-term, say how lonely they are because they feel like they aren't able to make friends with Japanese people and the way they would be in their home countries, and they feel that wall. I know what they mean.
Yeah, I absolutely know what they mean, because even open-minded Japanese people, I'm sorry, maybe I can't speak for all of you, but still there is some
gap,
and I think it's not because of Japanese people. I think it's a cultural thing. The friendship itself is different.
And no time to even really spend with friends between work and the obligations they have.
And it's even sharing stuff we can speak with our country people and some other countries people. Not every country has the same frankliness in talking, but we can say stuff openly, we can whine openly, we can complain, but Japanese people tend not to complain even if they actually struggling, which is bad thing. You should probably share, but they don't want to be judged. Yes, they don't adjust to foreign person in the way that okay, this person is not Japanese, so I can be vulnerable.
Yes.
That's the thing.
But if it's somebody who's really interested in your home culture and their dream is to live in that country, there's still that sentiment of or a feeling of a wall there, but it's a little bit thinner.
Yeah, a little
bit.
Makes
sense. Because there's a feeling of you're not Japanese, so I can express my super enthusiasm for your culture and language and so on with you, and you'll understand.
One is a lonely number.
Yeah, if you do move here, you might find that the majority of your friends are foreign people. So I feel like
majority of people is even not foreign people for me, but people I interacted a lot in, for example, language school or workplace spaces I used to work for, and some people you just stick around and they become the closest.
That's tough. It can be really, really tough. It can be really isolating, a big culture shock.
But I mean, the isolation, loneliness in the crowd is 100% feeling that probably not every, but majority of foreigners living in Japan experience it.
Some Japanese people I talk to today are frustrated as they feel like foreigners taking over Japan rather than integrate into the culture as a part of Japan. That's a huge difference.
外人が結構来すぎかな。昔みたい元のように日本人だけで
日本に来てこうやってなんか観光を楽しんでくれるのは嬉しいですし、でもやっぱその反面、実際治安が悪くなっているのもやっぱ一つ事実としてあると思うので、文化違う。
Yeah, the crime rates and stuff. I totally agree. don't feel safe sometimes around a lot of foreign people, for example, no matter if they're tourists or not.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I used to walk around Tokyo at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., the middle of the city at night. I would listen to music. Sure, there was a chance that I could have been in a bad situation, but generally, I felt completely safe. But yeah, now, no way. Even like going out or coming back home around midnight, I'm really leery. I just got stalked recently by a foreigner who moved to my particular area of the city. Like, there were cameras right on the street, and he still had no trouble and no fear in stalking me. So, yeah, I can understand why Japanese people are upset. It's a lot of people come here as well and expect Japanese people to adapt to their culture.
I mean, it's supposed to be balanced thing. Like, I mean, in some ways, Japanese people also need to understand, like, this is a foreign person. They don't know some of the rules.
True. That's a good
Or
point.
all the rules, and they are weak in the language and but yeah, if the person just the foreign person just uses this, like, oh, I don't know language, I don't gonna study it, I'm not gonna study it. This is piece of work that's supposed to leave the country and go back where they come from 100%, anywhere in the world. If you come to the country and think you should be treated as king, leave the country. This awful strategy, this awful behavior.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel entitled to do that too, because they have this misconception that Japanese people are very meek and they won't speak up if you mistreat them. You're wrong. but because of that misconception, they feel emboldened to come here and misbehave.
Well, they will not act actively aggressively typically, but still, like, it's not a reason to provoke them with your attitude.
It's just disrespect, yeah. Aww.
Recently, the shrine decided to ban all tourists after years of dealing with misbehavior by foreign tourists, which many Japanese I know, especially domestic travelers, really find unfair. Recent surveys, over 60% feel annoyed, as we have to deal with it on a daily basis. For instance, taking up too much space, blocking passages, and loud conversation, boisterous behavior, or top of the list.
Well, the ban from shrines I've never seen actually be in practice. Like, I see tourists everywhere.
Yeah, true.
I don't know what it is. Like, I know, like, it's related to the game. The game was, I think I've heard that the game they just showed, it was Assassin's Creed's new version, and the Black Samurai stuff, and there was something about the temples and shrines, but
oh, yeah, that's right. You could destroy temples in the game or something.
I think, I don't know the details, but
yeah, that's a religion.
so but I have never seen this ban.
Is it Miyajima? Miyajima.
Maybe the only one shrine. Okay. But yeah, littering and smoking on the premises is just so disrespectful. Come on, if you don't practice this religion, some people are, so please be respectful. Like, who goes to some club?
I know, it really is unbelievable. Why would you go there?
Loud conversation. Well, actually, Japanese people do loud conversation too at times.
Drunk,
Especially drunk or teenagers. Disregard everyone. You're the center of attention.
Even the grandmas. It's very cute.
Oh, yeah.
Grandmas are just like, we don't care. I don't see a lot of Japanese people giving up seats for the grandmas, though, and grandpas. Which makes me angry. They'll pretend to sleep. And one of my old Japanese friends is always complaining about it. He's got like a post every day. And he'll take a photo of them. Yet another person who refused to get up from the priority seats, and the person's always like on their phone or pretending to sleep.
Well, I try to never use the priority seats if I can, or I only use when nobody. Like, there are plenty of seats everywhere, including the priority seats. But in cases I feel sick, so I'm gonna pass out, which gonna cause much more trouble than standing grandma. I'd rather be sitting. But I understand what they mean about the grandmas and Japanese people pretending to be. Like, sometimes I understand, like, even if you work in office, sometimes you have spine problems and stuff, so you come to the train and you just can't hold yourself. I understand that, but some people could.
It's usually like really young guys. I shouldn't assume they're all healthy, but so for the photos I've seen from my friend, yeah. And the times where I saw grandmas, like I was in a priority seat and the grandma was coming on, and there was like all young people next to me, all suddenly on their phone or like busy, and I would always just get up and give. I mean, especially as a foreigner, it's like just do it, and then you feel really good too, because usually the grandmas and the grandpas, like they're actually really happy and they really appreciate it. And I think you set a good example for the other people as well. Like, this is what we should all be doing.
But Japan still doesn't give those who misbehave much punishment, and some tourists might take advantage of it. Japanese people, including myself, often assume
The Russian, he just got arrested in the Philippines. I think they're putting him away for life because of what he did. Yeah.
Piece of work.
America and Russia, were they?
everyone in this country on the same page and follow a rule without telling them or forcing them to do so, because it's part of the culture. But having thus so many foreigners inside today, maybe it doesn't work anymore.
In Singapore, we have to rely on fines to get people to do it. I like the Japanese where you do it because it's part of your culture.
Japanese people not getting used to foreigners. Actually, in a way, it might be opposite. As you may already know, this is more and more common to hear in Japan. So their reaction when you're coming into a store or shop might be completely different from 10 years ago.
I feel like some establishments had that foreigner fatigue.
There's definitely been a lot more just like unwarranted stigma.
I actually understand it, but
yeah, like, I was literally, like, when I was doing the photo shoot, lovely people came from Germany, and there was, it was like around Omoide Yokocho in Shinjuku area,
yeah,
and there's like a lot of foreigners. And at one moment I was like hearing Japanese speech, I was feeling, oh, Japanese speech, how... Like, I seriously felt like I was in a different country or something, and I started...
So many tourists?
I was like, oh wait, I am in Japan.
I
understand.
Gaijin residents are feeling Gaijin fatigue. I'm so sorry for anyone who's coming. If you guys are coming to Japan as a tourist, as long as you're respectful, you know, you might deal with some stress because it can be difficult to get around sometimes, and you know things happen. But as long as you're here coming here with respect and appreciation, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But we, admittedly, even as Gaijin, I think we're so tired of the really nasty, rude people who come here for the wrong reasons, for bad reasons.
It's one thing is like excited tourists,
Yeah.
and they are humble by culture and they don't act out. But some are rude and just like taking too much space, like pushing you, and like this train filled with people and you feel tired.
If you do come here and you've experienced this anti-foreigner sentiment, I'm so sorry, but maybe understanding why it's happening will help you get through it a little bit. If it happens to you, I hope it doesn't. Even if it happens, I hope you'll keep positive and upbeat and respectful, because you could be the person who actually changes it back. Especially if a Japanese person's having a bad day and they have this Gaijin fatigue, but you're still cheerful and kind and respectful, that might actually change their perception a little bit. Like, I was a little rude to them, but they were still nice to me. Wow. Okay.
You say you are quite succeeding in assimilating into the culture?
全然もちろん、日本の社会に、参加したいと働きたいですね。でも仕事を探すとアパートメントを探すことはもうちょっと大変と思います。私の心は悲しいです。
She was
Yeah.
sweet. I liked her.
But totally agree, like, despite this, like, foreign fatigue and this stuff, Japanese do not do anything to make it a little bit easier for foreigners.
Apartments is so tough though,
Yeah.
because it's like we can understand why they're
Yeah.
so strict with apartments, because a lot of unfortunately a lot of foreign people will come here, destroy the apartment, and then just leave, and then or they will not pay for stuff, right, and leave the country. So then the Japanese people are left to pick up the entire mess. But job is tough. Job is so tough. Like
Visa requirements are a little bit too complicated to get it easy, and yeah, there are a lot of cases when not so good companies hire foreigners just because they know they can blackmail them with visa stuff. So yeah, don't lose hope, foreigner who is looking for a job. We wish you best of luck. Yeah.
他の文化に興味が持つことがいいと思います。アメリカにはその興味は持たなければならないです。でもここにはその興味はあんまり。
I've gotta say though, I understand what she means, but that's America. It is a melting pot. It is notorious for being a melting pot. This is Japan. It's quite, well, homogenous. So, I'm so sorry, hon, but I feel like you're bringing American values to Japan. Yes, it would be great if there was a curiosity. I think there is a curiosity. Like, again, it might be just like one specific person who has like a hyper interest in another culture. But I don't think you can come to Japan and say that fairly, because it is quite homogenous, and historically it's been quite homogenous.
Yeah, I mean, the histories are quite different.
Yeah. And so it's the guy from my home state is the one who opened Japan. That bastard no one wanted. Commodore Matthew Perry. Very handsome guy, wink. It feels a little bit like that to say this about Japan. Like, you should be interested in other cultures.
Well, but still, like, completely, like, if they completely shut down, it's not good either. Like, yeah, that's why I was trying to say, like, balance. But balance is something whole world, the world our days lacking of everywhere, to be honest. That's what people should struggle, not for perfection, but for balance. They are quite private, I guess.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. They're very private and very reserved.
So yeah, even if they have curiosities, they can't. Well, I mean, young people are quite positively interested, but unfortunately, Japan is a pyramid. Bad word.
But think about all the TV shows that they're talking about different cultures and countries. I feel like it may not be like positive type of curiosity, because many times they're making fun of other cultures or something, but I think it is a type of curiosity. So I feel like her point is like, you should think like Americans, which I feel like is a little unfair.
すごいマナーとかそういうのを気にするじゃないですか。でも海外ってほとんどそういうのないんですよ。日本の方も世界に出て逆にもっと見てきてほしいですね。なんかいろんなところ。
Yeah, this one I support, because people who never been abroad in Japan, they have quite like feel huge distance apparently with the foreigners.
Yeah.
And the manners might be very scary for them. Yeah, if they would try to go for at least a couple of weeks and actually see the cultures when they're young.
Yeah.
That could improve the situation a bit. Because Japanese, the manners. I mean, it has its positive moments, but sometimes I feel it's a little bit too outdated.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I can think of a lot of Japanese people of all ages where I've asked them, like, where is a country you've really dreamed of going, like, and what would you do there? Oh, I don't want to leave Japan. I would go to somewhere in Japan. And I always felt like, no, not even like a castle in Europe, or, like a safari in Africa, like nothing like that. You'd rather just stay here. But to be fair, even in Rhode Island people, if there's any Rhode Island people watching, this is true. People who never leave Rhode Island, or who never leave New England in general, get like this too. Why should I leave this country? There's so much to see and do here. So maybe it's just people who haven't had the chance to travel and just haven't had the chance to really imagine about it.
And also, like, Japan is quite safe, so used to be. So you, like, even, like, actually, after living in Japan for over 10 years, I feel a little bit scared to go on the, in some countries because of, the dangerous ratings of crimes and stuff like that. So, even if we get it back to my country, it's like, my back. Even my mother said, like, sometimes, relax a bit. Even the transportation, like, I actually feel awful when the flight is over 1 or 2 hours. My spine hurts, my attention span of it is just like, I can't sit any longer, let me go.
Wait, can I tell you a horror story? The first time I was ever on a plane, I was the exact middle seat, like 5-seater. I was the middle. And I had this guy next to me, this big guy, and he goes, did you know? If you're not careful, you don't pop your ears, they're gonna start bleeding. And that was my first time on a plane. I was 15. So I was like, oh my god. Then he took his shoes off and put his feet on me. I'm not even joking. The smell, I'll never forget the smell. And because I was just a kid, like, he was a little bit older than me. We were part of the same, like, orchestra tour. And because I was just a kid, I was just, like, letting him do it. And I really felt like, this is horrible, this is horrible, this is so horrible.
What is wrong with him?
It was so horrible.
Oh,
It was so horrible. It was horrible.
Let's take his description. Okay.
外国人の方ほとんどじゃないですか、日本語。その
ちょっ
人たち
と外国人だとずっと飲酒で飲んだりとか飲んで食べたりとかしているからあんまりそういうのはあんまり良くないかなと思って。
っていうとどれだけ言っても外国籍の方がゴミ捨てのマナーを守ってくれないとか、犬の糞もね放置していく方とか多くて、あとノーリードで歩いてるとか。どれだけ言っても民泊をね、されるとか、みんな口揃えて言うんですよ、外国の方だって。
The trash stuff is
the
hard.
trash is difficult.
I just had a problem with it. I thought I was doing it correctly because I was tried to be super careful, and I had never had a problem with it. I've been doing it for how many years now. And then recently I actually got in trouble, and I was so embarrassed and so shocked because after all this time I'd been doing it a certain way, thinking it was correct, and it turns out it wasn't. But I hope Japanese people can understand
that it's complicated. Like,
we're trying.
Like, I mean, especially the countries that have no recycling, it's quite tough to understand. So even so, like, I mean, the books they give you in the city hall are actually quite understandable. So I don't remember if they have English version, to be honest. I received Japanese version.
Me too.
So, like,
maybe it depends, like, as areas become more and more
foreigner friendly, then
they might add more.
But it's quite tough sometimes, and you don't know which garbage is big enough or small enough.
When I lived in Shinjuku, I don't know how many years ago now, but when I lived in Shinjuku, they gave the manual for residents, and the manual said, women should not go outside without makeup. I was so like, oh my god.
The author of the book, the guy from Fits. The Fit man.
No, I was thinking like if he came here he'd be a Chikon, so yeah. Yeah, it's just if you're coming here and you really have to try to do your best.
Yeah, please.
As long as you have good intentions, it's gonna be okay though. Don't worry, it will be okay. But
yeah, but also with littering, just for you to be aware. Yeah. There are so small amount of trash bins outside.
That's true. That's true.
That's why please hold your garbage with you, or like, if you buying something, please get this 5N plastic bag and keep your garbage there, please. Yeah, and don't put anything but designated stuff to the containers, especially the bottles one near the vending machines, because it's for plastic bottles or cans. It's not for paper, it's not for any other trash. Please recycle. But yeah, Airbnb is complicated because you should not rent it. I can't say only foreigners do it, and
It's risky.
Airbnb is like quite risky business, so preferably stay at a hotel at first, at least.
Even
when you know
Uber.
when you know when you don't know language.
Yeah.
Better be safe than sorry.
Go to a nice business hotel. It's cheap. It's very convenient. Usually close to a station.
But not possible to book right now. Sorry. Seasons like Sakura, you just give up.
Don't do it. It's not worth it. Come
on the Plum Blossom. Plum Blossom is also great.
あんまり街を汚されると飲食店とかやってる日本人だといいけど外国の方が来ると日本人の人が厳しくなるかなと思って外人の人が来てもちょっと断ったり
To an extent, I understand his feelings, but it is a form of racism.
Yeah, I would agree. It sounds a little bit racist. Like one thing, if you don't want to make an English menu and other stuff.
Yeah, but no foreigners allowed is. Ooh. It's like during the COVID time, there was quite a popular hotel in the Akasaka area, not far from mahou dokoro actually. They had 2 elevators, right? One elevator said Japanese people only. The other one said foreigners only. This stuff is so blatantly discriminatory. I understand the Gaijin fatigue and anti-foreigner sentiment because there has been a lot of bad behavior from tourists and even foreign residents, but it's like at some point, like you said, balance.
Well, but I think they tend to get extreme sometimes because, for example, I remember during COVID, even within the country, but yeah, sometimes you go somewhere and you see a lot of places saying people from Tokyo don't go inside, or like we don't welcome, like no people from our other prefectures.
As if somebody didn't travel to Osaka or any of these other airports and bring it with them already. It's so stupid.
ってくれて一生懸命働いて税金を払ってくれる方もいるじゃないですか、外国人の方。そういう方は
ちょっと難しいですか、そういうのはね来てほしくないし、外人の方見るとちょっと不安かなと思って。
まだそこはありますか。
We pay pensions that you get.
That's fair point. I think this guy had a really bad experience.
Yeah.
And it's stayed with him.
外人の人に会ってちょっと会ってちょっと迷ったりとか。
そんなに？そのぐらい？
Oh, then move to the village. I'm sorry.
But no, then the foreigners might buy the cheaper built houses that have been abandoned, and he's gonna have a real heart attack. Oh, my neighbor.
I thought I was sorry. No, this kind of attitude is weird, to be honest. Like, if you're so afraid, do something about it. Like, move to some more remote, unpopular area, probably.
Yeah, I think he really must have had like such a bad experience that it just cemented in his head from like, I don't want to deal with any foreign people from now on. There are foreign people who come here and do such extreme, crazy things.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
can
I understand. Probably some people, when he said like only Japanese, they might be aggressive. So
yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
I don't appreciate this kind of attitude as well. Like when people start being aggressive when they said no.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he judges everyone by the same criteria, it's actually a little
in a
bit.
weird way, I feel sorry for him in a really, really weird way.
I don't try to judge him or anything, but just the attitude itself. Like sometimes even people who didn't experience anything can do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody's the same, so it's a little bit sad.
On the American side, I think the racism is more based on a sense of, I'm better than you. But in Japanese, the racism is, oh, I don't know if I feel safe around you.
Sometimes kind of scared.
Yeah.
日本人だとすぐ渡せるけど、外国の方だとちょっと悪いこととかやってるから、今犯罪があるからちょっと怖いかなと思って、みんななんか周りもなんか怖いって、ちょっと僕もねちょっと不安かなと思って。
I think he didn't do it by accident, compilating these two parts about racism. I'm sorry, not sorry. Like, people do crime, foreign people do crimes. It's like, only foreign people do crimes, so I'm scared. Japanese people don't do crimes? Oh wow, why? So the prisons, there is no need for prisons and stuff. And I think the death penalty is still there, right? And some people get death penalty. Wow.
There's so many, like, if you read the Japanese news, every single day there was a stabbing. Usually a domestic situation. It's unfortunately a big problem here. Or like some crazy guy killed like an innocent girl or something. Like every single day. So
that's why I start to watch anything because you feel unsafe.
It's sad. It's really, really sad. So yeah, I think he's being a little bit. I mean, okay, to be fair, if a foreign person does come to your country and just commits crimes, I think they should be sent back. Because it's complete disrespect not only to the country as a whole, but to the actual people, and you're making them feel unsafe. So, but it's like he's making it sound like every foreigner comes.
This kind of vision is gray, not gray, like black and white vision.
Yeah, the extreme black and white, yeah.
Data foreign crimes now on the rise for the last decade and has been consistently only a few percentage, not to mention that most of their crimes are non-violent ones, like overstay, bringing money.
But I wonder how much doesn't get reported as well. Like, I didn't report the guy who stalked me because it was too mendokusai.
They don't do stalker cases, unfortunately.
Yeah, they can't do much.
The problem is, we have all the increase of tourists, the residentially, it's the same percentages.
Good point.
Like, the foreigners in Japan are like such a small percentage that. So majority of crimes, I think, are committed by tourists because they just come and go.
Yeah.
And I think majority of crimes they say are stealing something.
Yeah. That's actually why I really like the Japan reporter, because he doesn't seem to like take sides. He's very, very fair and he's very generous with his thought processes.
Anna was stuff like that, and yet more Japanese people feeling unsafe or scared about them. She consistently claimed Chinese people would be the most responsible for that, as we see their bad behavior a lot, and according to a survey, we think Chinese would be the ones who
Americans. Well, we have Johnny Somali, so I'm not surprised.
Vitaly, you said?
He's not. I'm surprised. Well, the anti-Korean sentiment is sadly strong in Japan, so maybe it's not surprising that there's a bias. Like, I wouldn't have imagined that Korean tourists are bad.
Well, only like those who don't like Japan, I guess, so they come to actually do something.
Fair point, fair point.
その反中国の感情に流れてますけど、それはもう中国人の自業自得ですからね。去年7人も殺して何言ってんだ。在日中国人84万人いるんですよ。治安もどんどん悪くなってますし、日本はなぜか中国人が土地を変えるんですよ。侵略される可能性っていうのが年々高まってきてるので、それはもう恐怖感はそれはもう。
Yeah, but while I say that the small percentage of foreigners, the percentage of Westerners is even tinier.
Yeah.
Majority are from all over the Asia, I guess, because it's close and easier to get.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about getting scholarship, probably to get higher education, there is no scholarship for people from Russia, only for only few, but not from Moscow, because you are rich. No. But yeah, majority was for countries like China and Southeastern Asia, I guess. Well, I mean, I understand, like, they don't usually have money, the students from there, but yeah, the percentage of stuff that Western people can get is so tiny, so it's harder to stay here anyway, so... but yeah, the manners are quite different from Japan, so I guess it's harder for them to adjust.
I think some people, because of the really tense history as well, I think some people do come here with that, even if they don't consciously think, they still have that. And I understand why they have that feeling. If I think about like things my Chinese friends have said, especially ones who lived in Nanking or Nanjing, and the terrible things the Japanese soldiers did there in World War II. Like, I can understand the pain, because that pain is trauma that's been passed down in their family, sadly. But I wonder, like, how many people are carrying that unconsciously, and then when they come here, that resentment kind of comes out.
Don't want to say for everyone. Some Japanese people also have this resentment.
Yes, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
it's quite of like two-side blade stuff.
That's why when I saw the list was number 1 was Chinese and number 3 was Korean. So I was thinking, ooh, the tense relationship since World War II. But Americans probably just actually, unfortunately.
Well, they have also war bases, so...
Entitlement. There's a sense of entitlement, I think. Not all American tourists. I'm so sorry, Americans.
No, I don't think so. It was about tourists. It was in general, I guess. I'm just thinking about the war bases.
Yeah.
The crimes happen there. But yeah, 11% is quite high, to be honest.
I have seen really entitled American tourists in Japan, though. I have seen it. Like, just so rude. Like, at the McDonald's, I'll never forget, like, big American guy. Yeah, give me a burger and some fries.
似てるところが多いですよ。他の国より、例えばインドの方より、あとはヨーロッパの方、アメリカの方よりは。
The essence, deep down, I think we have very similar culture because the history, right? We cannot deny that.
I'm not sure. Like this fundamental stuff probably, but the behavior stuff is completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. I'm sorry, Chinese people. I might be sounding rude, but I don't mean to. But the way how Japanese people behave in crowds and Chinese people behave in crowds and places like shops and restaurants, different.
Because I studied Chinese for 2 years and got quite familiar with the culture, and I quite adored it. And one of the things I adored about it was, it's just my perception of the culture, but that I felt that Chinese people were quite open and forward, and I quite liked that, like, they would tell you where you stand with them, for example, like, directly. But I felt Japan was the total opposite.
Yeah.
So much more open and forward, and Japan is kind of closed off and reserved. And I always thought that was a nice difference, like a clear-cut difference between the cultures. So yeah, I don't really agree with her on that point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but yeah, if you're in Japan, like, you should be more mindful of Japanese culture, of course.
Considering talk about those misbehaviors, maybe sometimes we just get in here and we are not get used to it. Maybe there's some trouble.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes Japanese people see something that annoys them, they never say the word.
Yeah.
Until too late.
It's true.
Which is like, okay, it's kind of your fault, because like how people would know they do something wrong if you don't tell them straight ahead, so they learn that this is a mistake. Like, please treat them as children.
Yeah. Better to be a little bit condescending and or patronizing than just to let resentment brew. And
yeah, that's complicated stuff.
Maybe we just need to talk to each other. We may communicate to each other. I think it can work. For example, you and I have already talked for this long. Yeah, I think sometimes we just see each other by prejudice.
日本だとちょっと今、少子化の問題もあるんですよね。こういう状況の中で、もちろん外国の方、そういう人材がここに、
The contributed people, no problem. The people who just use the benefits, without like
the people who open
huge
a credit
reason.
card here and then never pay it back. The bulk buy things and then head back to their country is horrible. And like the other sad thing, he's right, of course, about the aging community and the falling birth rates. But I understand why Japanese people feel I'm afraid it won't be Japan anymore if it's like
because if people don't assimilate, they just conquer. Come here and act like they are, the way they are. It reminds me of other places.
Yeah, it's a big problem in the world right now.
So
it's a big problem.
Many other people I talk to also say that we don't have a choice at this point. We have to accept foreigners and make it easier for them to live.
なり手がやっぱ不足しちゃってるから外国の方を呼んでるわけで、 なんつうの、そういう差別的な感情を持つ人がそういうふうになんかその出てけとかそういうふうなのは、まあお互いの文化を受け入れる。
でも AI が今どんどん普及してますから AI に頼むところは頼む。今ロボットいっぱいいますよね、レストランにも。でもそれでも本当にね、本当に労働力が足りないっていうんだったら中国ではない。絶対的に中国ではない。
Even though AI can still do 6 fingers or 4 or 3.
Like,
I'm sorry, we
maybe
don't.
like that guy, she had such a bad experience with someone or something, like, because you can feel the strength of her argument. She's really, really upset by the situation and convinced in her point.
Well, she's also a politician. Politicians need to make bigger
I
state.
didn't know that.
I think, well, I mean, at least she's highly political with this
Oh, yes, yes.
stuff, so it's kind of, you have to present bigger and bigger phrases and bigger words, but...
Oh.
いろんな人いると思うんですよ。中にはこう日本の文化を尊重して日本でしっかり働いて税金も納めるっていう方もいらっしゃると思うんですけど。
でも中国人としてのアイデンティティは捨てないんですよ、彼らは。
Why should they?
It's like Italian Americans or Irish Americans. Those people came over and they did adapt. Those people, all the people that came over the early 1900s in the US, they worked really hard to assimilate. Still to this day, we pride ourselves on the history of our ancestors. Like when I go to Italy, for example, I'll be like, my family's Italian. I can't speak a word of Italian. I can, but only bad words. But like, I'm clearly not Italian. But like, we take such pride in our ancestors and the work that they put in to give us a better life in the United States, our family. And I think there's a pride for the homeland, and that's it. Well, of course we love our new country, the new country they brought us to give us a better life. But of course there's a pride also for where they came from. And so I think, like, of course assimilate, but I think you can still...
Keep your roots. I mean, it's roots you can't just... You can't become Japanese.
In Japanese traditional school, you'd have to dye your hair black and, like, all of that stuff. Like you wouldn't fit it, like, yeah, I don't know, that's weird.
That was a weird statement. Like, okay, well, the next subtitle, like, anti-Japanese education, yeah, this is not a good notion.
Yeah,
but
that's not good. But Japan did that for a long time.
Yeah, they
too,
did.
The reverse.
No, they erased from the books.
Did they?
They
Well,
erased
yeah.
the books, the crimes, apparently.
Yeah.
And the countries who were involved, they were like, why you don't teach about your crimes? And this was object of the conflict. So it's quite complicated. It's not our countries to discuss, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's quite like, if they are anti-motivated,
Be weird to come here. Yeah,
Yeah.
You're learning that this entire country hates me.
したいなんて思わないですよね。中国だけはいまだに植民地主義なんですよ。ロシアもそう北朝鮮もそうでした。私たちこの3カ国に囲まれてますよ。平和な時代は80年続いたから私たち平和ボケしてるけど、でも今ウクライナ見てください。ガザを見てください。平和な時代じゃないんですよ。
But we haven't. It's never been peaceful, like fully
it's
peaceful.
never been peaceful.
Never. So
Like, if you do the history,
yeah, sadly
there's
humans are stupid.
everything, like, I don't know, like, I can't say every single year has some conflict.
But something, yeah. Even if it's more of a civil war, there's always something.
It's just Japan who was limited that not having army might be feeling okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having the American war bases like, okay, we're safe.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit. It's not nuanced enough to really be able to have a meaningful dialogue about it. It's really like the other guy, black and white thinking. So it's hard to.
But like.
差別行為が氾濫してしまうんじゃないか。
私は中国人帰れまでしか言わないですよ。そこまでしか言わない。そこから先は知らないです。でね、やるかやられるかなんですよ。
Yeah, やるかやられるか。This is like primitive thinking of like nature law. The strongest survive.
Yeah. It's just so hard to be able to comment on it because it's so extreme.
Yeah. War conflicts stuff like that is not a good thing.
Any people from China watching, I'm so sorry. Like, You might have seen this video already. I'm sure it's really painful to, especially if you love Japan, it's painful to see that there are people like this who perceive everything, well, so extremely. But please, I hope you will keep coming and do your best. Try to assimilate and respect the culture. Don't try to change her mind. That's not your job. It's not your responsibility. But just by being, doing your best, being a good person, maybe you can change even the most extreme minds.
ウイグルはやられたんです。チベットやられたんですよ。南モンゴルも香港もやられたんですよ。この社会、この世界というのは、いつの時代もやるかやられるかなんですよ。みんな仲良くね、国境をなくそうみたいなこと言ってたらね、一瞬でやられるんですよ。その危機感足らなさすぎるんですよ。甘いんすよ。
She reminds me of some anime character who is like very strong, opinionated, and
like that.
usually evil.
Yeah, it does. I feel
because like this black and white thinking is evil.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, raising as a child, like playing the RPG games when you're either a hero or the villain.
Yeah.
Was easier and more desirable. Like, yeah, I want to believe in good and evil, but unfortunately the world is gray.
I think it's always been in Japan, but America right now is very, very, very black and white. No gray. I've been shocked when I talk to people back home. It's very strange. It's so bizarre to me that you wouldn't want to find the common ground and try to find the most nuanced position, the most balanced position, so that everyone can come together again. Like, and not just America, the UK, all across Europe. It's like this. It's very, very extreme.
But it's hard. Like, on the other hand, it's hard when it's big nation.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to maintain it because every side will be disappointed. Like, there is no.
That's true. That's true.
Unfortunately, yeah, the compromise is not the best convenient way for both of us. It's best inconvenient way, but that we can spare.
That's true, though. Everyone will be disappointed.
And everybody is gonna be disappointed, and nobody wants to take risks. Like, I don't know, no politician would like to their rankings drop down and they never re-elected, for example.
I feel like the world has become more extremist.
Yeah.
Like, even in like the 90s or 2000s.
Well,
it's hard to live in it in that sense.
Well, remember about our parents, for example, living in their world, and now we have to squeeze in the small room for living because of the cost.
Yes.
Cost, like raising salaries not, and this balance creates a strong resentment towards government, towards world, towards this, towards that. Unfortunately, it is like harder to actually dig, and it's not even harder, it's disgusting to dig, because sometimes you find something ugly and you don't want to live in this such world.
That's true. But I feel like maybe it's just us, but I feel like it's so fun to actually really look at a topic and see like the good and bad and like discuss those things and try to find like good middle ground. I feel like that's so fascinating and interesting. So it is disappointing that a lot of people don't care about that and just want to, it's more convenient. Like, I already felt this way about my biases or whatever, so I will just assume it's the truth.
But we are not politicians, that's a problem.
Oh,
Scale is different.
Yeah.
If more individuals with strong logic and knowledge of the world, knowledge of the history, because history repeats itself, and as the spiral gets tighter and tighter and tighter, at time the bad events, the huge events, will come faster and faster and faster, unfortunately, because with human evolution, the revolution and other stuff is also speeding up.
Yeah.
And technologies open more and more opportunities, not for good, but for bad as well.
Yeah.
So we are living in quite unsafe society.
And disrespect of history really upsets me, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's scary, though, for a Japanese person to see that. I mean, there's examples of other countries, right? There's other countries that come in and they take over a certain industry or something. Well, I don't know what change looks like, right? Change is scary.
外人の方が来るとね、なんとなくもう日本が変わっちゃう感じで。
日本人の愛国心っていうのは アメリカの GHQ に占領されたじゃないですか。6年8ヶ月も占領されたら、愛国心とか天皇に対する尊厳っていうものも全て消される。まあそこが日本人の強さの根源だと。
Shigemitsu-san! Oh, sorry, I clicked the volume button. Shigemitsu Mamoru. Sorry, this is totally, that was him signing the document. I believe that was him. Yes, Shigemitsu-san. Oh, I want to give him a hug. He is an amazing, amazing historical figure, and I don't think even a lot of Japanese people know his full story. I got to meet his family. Just incredible. Guys, I really recommend you read. I think he has an autobiography, or he wrote his memoirs. If you can read Japanese, please read it, or if you find an English translation by some means. Fascinating, incredible guy, and he tried so hard to stop the war. He did not want the World War II with Japan involved. He tried so hard to stop it. Oh, I felt really... 感動した. Really moved to see him.
Thank you for sharing. I didn't know.
Yeah, amazing guy. Go to the museum. His family has a museum for him. You can see all of his artifacts, really cool thing, and you can meet his family. They are really lovely people.
Okay, sorry for finishing on the sad note.
No, it's good. Shigemitsu-san is, well, Mamoru, his best friend, who is the main character of the work that we're producing, they called each other Dear Shigemi and Heiji Peiji. It's very cute. But Shigemitsu-san he loved foreign cultures and foreign people. He was an incredible diplomat. So I think it's great, actually, that they ended with him, because he's a perfect example of a Japanese person who was so knowledgeable and curious and interested in other cultures, and had just such a wonderful sense of mediation between other countries and with problems. He's quite a nice beacon of hope to end otherwise sad video.
I would love to not be touching political matters if it's possible. I'm sorry for being look like covered, but I don't want to discuss something I'm not so knowledgeable on.
That's a good point. Yeah, be respectful to each other, guys. It's okay to disagree, of course. Like, you're all different people, so disagree politically, of course, but just recognize that, you have another human opposite you who has genuine beliefs and wants and needs and dreams and all that stuff. So hopefully, that's why we don't want to touch politics either, because we look at things in a gray way, and not black or white, or we try to anyway, and see the value of both sides. So we hope that everyone will be able to do that too, and keep a respectful relationship. This did become political.
Yeah,
so
I
was
don't
surprised.
like the potential is part 2 being about this, because especially in countries we are not raised and we don't know stuff. So anyways, I apologize for this. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, slice this button, like button, please.
Please check out his page and give him a like as well, the Japan Reporter, because he put a lot of work. He puts a lot of work into producing these things, so we would feel really bad if you only liked. Hopefully you liked it. If you only liked ours, and not his, so please give him a like. And if you subscribe, here's the amazing thing. If you subscribe, there will be world peace.
You remember what happened when Mulder in X-Files wished for peace from a genie?
No, I don't remember.
He woke up post-apocalyptic, one person alive in the world.
Okay, don't click. Don't click the subscribe. Don't click the subscribe button.
I laugh Fallout. Fallout? How you pronounce it? This is another childhood game I really should. So I don't have hopes for the humanity. It might seem soon. Good night.